You all announced that the college would be closing on May 31st. Kind of what happens now moving forward? What's the next steps in this process?
Well, once we realized that the bill that we'd been working on was not going to go to a vote on the floor of the House, we knew that our options were up, had expired basically. So we immediately focused on our responsibilities, and the number one responsibility is getting our students placed. We have about 400 students that are first year, sophomore, and juniors that will need to find new homes next fall. We've had conversations with about 40 different colleges, including Chancellor UA System and other colleges, local and throughout the country, to be honest, who are interested in our students. And we will bring as many of those colleges to our campus a week from tomorrow, on Friday the 5th, to meet with our students and make sure we can get them settled. Once they're settled, and hopefully that can happen quickly and they can enjoy their last 4 to 6 weeks here, then we need to focus on our faculty and staff and make sure we can place them. And then after that, our third priority is selling the campus and making sure that our creditors are paid back. And in selling the campus, we have two objectives. One is to get a very good price, but the other is to make sure we have an owner here that will benefit the neighborhood. The neighborhood here, Bush Hills, College Hills, they've been tremendous friends to us, and we want to make sure we leave them in a good spot.
Yeah. When it comes to transferring students, what does the credits look like from going from this institution to another?
So this is what we've been working on. So we have 40 memoranda of understanding, which generally means all the credits will transfer, close to all. And then we have several what's called teach outs, which means all the credits will transfer. So what we'll do is we'll sit down with each student individually and talk about really not just where their credits will transfer, but where they want to major and what are their top priorities, location, major, and so on. Some will be sports, some will be other things, but we'll sit down with them individually before the fair to make sure they're ready to know what they're looking for and to help them get through this process. Our admissions department, obviously, we don't have applications anymore. I've asked them to stay on to help these students transfer. So we'll have admissions counselors who will be helping our own students transfer to different colleges around the Southeast primarily.
And you have student athletes here.
Absolutely.
What does that process look like for them as they look for a new location to play in their respective sport?
Well, I think there's the portal, but in a situation like this, there's more than the portal. We'll make sure they understand where their credits go, but we'll also have conversations, and we'll include our coaches in these conversations on where's best for them to go play. And if there's any issue with any of our students, I have no problem calling the president of any college and trying to help out.
Yeah. Why is that so important in this situation to be relentless in trying to get your students into a new location?
Well, it's the right thing to do. It's our obligation. It is what you'd expect of this college. Our students deserve it.
Yes, sir. And you mentioned your faculty and staff. What's next for them? You mentioned getting them placed. Is that as well a conversation that you've been having with these chancellors you've been speaking with?
Yes. I mean, I've had preliminary conversations there. We have about 227 employees we need to find spots for, 147 staff, 80 faculty. We have tremendous employees and great faculty. Some of our faculty I know have already found spots. But we will work with them and work with these institutions to try to find them places as soon as possible. From a prioritization point of view, though, we have to get our students settled first.
And I know we drove through the campus a little bit earlier before coming to the interview. There's housing, or is that where teachers and faculty live, or what's over there?
So there's a road here that has houses on it within our campus, and it's primarily faculty and staff live there, and some of it's rented, some of it's owned. As we sell the campus, we'll have to figure out how best to negotiate so the people that live on that road are taken care of.
Yeah. So they won't be evicted or anything like that anytime.
No. I mean, we'll have people living on this campus, past students, and there'll be plenty of people on this campus.
And that brings me to my next question.
Mm-hmm.
When May 31st rolls around, what does the security measures look like for the campus when everyone's gone?
Well, we'll still have security here. A few of us will be working here, and we'll have a lot of people living on campus still. So it will still be active, and it will still be safe.
Gotcha. You mentioned selling the property. What does that look like for you all?
Well, there's a few potential interested parties that we're already having conversations with. I can't go into who they are at this moment, but there's, I would say, 3. But in addition to that, it is possible, if these 3 don't work out, it's likely we hire a broker and we do a national marketing campaign. It's a unique piece of property. Arguably, it could be broken into 2 pieces between the apartments, and we have a headquarters of a company on our campus and that road. We own most of that road. And then you could sell the campus separately, or you could sell it all as one. We also are right next to a major interstate interchange, so to the extent that a business needed logistics center, this is not a bad place. But our hope is we find someone who can utilize this campus fully, keep it vibrant, and is good for the neighborhood.
Yeah. Would you like to see another educational institution potentially?
I'd be happy to see another educational institution because this is suited for an educational institution. I'd want to see one that's financially stable and has a lot of students because I think that would be the best thing for the neighborhood.
And you mentioned the neighborhood. And it seems like you guys are pretty far along in these conversations about potential people who could come in and purchase the property. How important would it be to get something in here as soon as possible?
Well, there's a lot of reasons it'd be great, not the least of which our creditors would like to be paid off as soon as possible. It would allow us to just complete the closure of the college, but also to have this as vibrant as possible as soon as possible, I think is important.
And if I'm mistaken, correct me, but you mentioned to lawmakers last week during a public hearing, the college is appraised at about $55 million, the main campus at least?
So our last appraisal has the main campus at 55, but the entire campus is closer to 75 million. We're on the books of Jefferson County at 105 million, and we had an appraisal before that around 95 million.
You mentioned Montgomery earlier and the bill.
Yeah.
I was in the public meetings, the committee meetings when it passed out of committee.
Right.
It seemed there was there were some changes that were made,
Right.
and it seems like a little bit of positivity moving into what would have been a
Right.
vote on the House floor.
Right.
What's your understanding of what happened there?
Right. No, it's a good question. We left committee with, we think, a 13-to-1 voice vote. Now, of course, that was a vote to move it out of committee. It wasn't necessarily a vote for it. But we thought we had good support. There were some amendments people talked about, but the amendments really didn't impact us. It was, we were okay with whatever the committee decided on the amendments. But we do know later that day, the House Republican caucus met because we spoke to them, I spoke to them. Senator Wagner spoke, Representative Faulkner, who carried the bill for us in the House, he spoke, and so did Reverend Thompson, who is the chair of our board. And we thought it went well. Later that afternoon, we found out they had a secret ballot, and it was about a 3.5 to 1 against us. And so that secret ballot was a really bad outcome for us, and we were really surprised. We asked to meet with the Speaker's office. We sat down with them. They told us because of that ballot, the bill is dead and it will not be voted on in the House.
Gotcha. Hearing that, what was kind of your initial thought?
We've been working hard on this for a long time, especially in Montgomery for a solid 1.5 years. My initial thought was over. That's it. We're out of options. And it was sad, and I started thinking about what we needed to do and what our responsibilities were.
Your students come back to campus next week. As they've got the next few days left of their spring break, kind of what is your message to them?
Well, first thing I want to say is I'm sorry we announced this while they're not here, but we found out late Wednesday, and our board has a rule for calling meetings, especially a meeting like this, a 48-hour notice. So we couldn't have a meeting last week, so we decided to go ahead and have the meeting this week. Otherwise, this would have leaked, and we didn't want students hearing from anyone else. And we also wanted to have enough time for some trustees to fly in from places like Boston and Washington and Denver. So we had a meeting on Tuesday, and that's why we had it this week. So when our students come back, we'll have town halls with different groups of students. And the first thing I'd like to say is I'm sorry we couldn't make it work. But I also want them to know that we're going to do everything to take care of them as we always would and make sure they land on their feet wherever they go.
Malik, do you have any questions? If there's anything else you would like to say, you're more than welcome to say.
It's sad. It's sad for Birmingham, sad for the Birmingham-Southern community, and I think our state lost one of its greatest institutions.